We've had a big shift, a big change overnight in the weather pattern of what's about to hit everyone. Matter of fact, the severe weather has mild down greatly. Just like I told you yesterday, it wasn't looking like a big outcome. Now, with the cold front and the warm front colliding together in a sense, is going to bring severe weather shifted further towards the east and south, possibly for Sunday instead of anything for Saturday, and maybe a slight risk that will grow along the Carolinas. I'll show you the latest information in this video. Plus, we have this snowstorm that is coming through, bringing a good bit of snow, but nothing super major, but it is bringing our first snowfall of the season on the eastern half of the lower 48, and this cold blast coming down is still very cold and is pivoting towards southern Florida, while we potentially get a storm popping up over here around Central America, and it will be Nestor for the next system. Now, we do have a tropical wave moving to the west and is relatively dry, but we do have a chance for formation over here around Central America. We need to pay attention to this forecast because it's more likely going to go out through the west, but it could easily curve around this high pressure and get pulled back into this direction. And I'm showing lastly that we're possibly going to stay in this active pattern, at least on the eastern half of the Caribbean and the Atlantic over here, all the way into December possibly for our hurricane season. So I'm going to show you the latest information in this video. What you can expect right around the corner from this crazy weather pattern. And starting for this morning, you can see the storms are starting to mild down for the northwest. You also have some more things going on for next week, so hope you pay attention to yesterday's video. Big system possibly coming towards California. And we also have the storms moving across for Indiana, Michigan, going towards Ohio. Just regular thunderstorms coming across everybody. Now, our severe weather for today is still there. And remember, this slight risk is for hail. It's not for tornadoes or wind. Even our chance for tornadoes has shrunk down greatly to that period of about 2 hours like I showed you on yesterday's video. Now, when we go through for Saturday, with the changing of the cold front and the warm front and the heating just not there, we only have thunderstorms for tomorrow and possibly on Sunday as it shifts towards the southeast, and we could get a slight risk over here for the Carolinas. Now, this would be chances for possible damage winds and mostly for hail as this system pushes off. I never really saw it was going to be a big storm coming across. It always looked like a weaker system to me, and that's showing true. But I notice there's a lot of people that's worried about this weather pattern coming, so we're going to go into the severe weather first so I can show you just how mild this actually is going to be. So here's who is at risk for today. Your chances for your tornadoes. You have that 2%. So here's your cities and states at risk for a possible spin up for today. I don't think we will see one. Here's your chances for your winds. You have the big 5% still that's coming with this. So here's your cities and states at risk for your wind threat for today and your hail threat. This is literally why you have that 15%. So here's your cities and states at risk for any hail at all. And you see the latest update for this morning. So as we get all this convection, all this lift coming across for Tennessee and Kentucky, also for the south, you can see how it leaves very quickly. But look for tomorrow. You get about a 2-hour window where you have instability coming through, but it's really leaving rather quickly because it's cooling off and you can't hold on to those temperatures. This cold front is making a big deal. So it's really leaving rather quickly. So this will weaken your thunderstorms. There's no food for them to form. So as you come through later this evening, you do get some storms build up over here, mostly for Kentucky. And look how it moves further towards the east, stretches into Tennessee by the time you get to 6 p.m. and just turn to regular thunderstorms. You might get a last storm later in the evening for northern Alabama, but that would be about it. Maybe carrying into northern Georgia, but you're losing your instability. It's just going to be regular thunderstorms passing by around that time. But once you go into Saturday, look how just empty everything is. These cells are not forming. It's losing a lot of its instability, a lot of his daytime heating. But what we do have is for the storm system coming in later for tonight. This is going to bring some snow, but it's also going to bring some winds on the western side of it. But this is bringing our snowstorm in for tonight, for tomorrow morning, and really kicking in for southeastern Dakota, southern, southwestern Minnesota, going through northern Iowa through tomorrow morning. And there's going to be a temperature battle for southern Wisconsin for tomorrow, whether it just really stays for a lot of snow or a little bit of snow, whether it even reaches into northern Illinois, then goes through Michigan as you go through for tomorrow evening. So you can see here, no severe weather for Saturday. This shifting towards Sunday. Now you have that 5%. Here's your cities and states at risk for severe weather on Sunday. And you can see that half of the models are showing destabilization, showing the storms will form back up around the Carolinas as you go past Georgia. The other half is showing that they are not. So they're at a 50-50 on whether they're going to put an upgrade for a slight risk as we go through for Sunday. Now you can see here from rapid refresh, it goes a little bit further. You can see the shift, but you also can see the storms forming up later on for Saturday, maybe going from Georgia and start going towards the Carolinas. You see that late Saturday all the way towards South Carolina and North Carolina. Then as you go into Sunday, possibly building up again over here by southern Georgia, going towards the Carolinas again. This could easily push offshore. This is just literally at the end before it goes offshore. So you could get some thunderstorms, maybe bring a little bit of wind at the last moment. While that system curves, you start getting the lake effect snow as you go through Saturday into Sunday, and you start bringing the storms towards the interior northeast for Saturday into Sunday, bringing the warmer temperatures coming with it as well. You see the warm pull up. So you do have your snowfall chances for the interior northeast. The rest of y'all just going to be too warm, and it's just going to be rainfall coming through for y'all. A cold rain at that. Showing chances for snow. So you do have chances in the higher elevations of Idaho, western Montana, western Wyoming, literally a couple of inches. Also here for the Dakotas going through Iowa, anywhere from 2 to 4 inches more snow for North Dakota, and a little bit for Michigan as well. So all in all, it's just looking like a light snowfall. This is what we've seen with the Euro also. And is bringing in some winds on that storm system as it comes in from tonight into tomorrow. This is bringing 50 and 60 miles per hour wind gusts. You got 50 in the orange, 60 in the red, and you get to 40 in that green. So you can see how this comes in for tonight and for tomorrow. Now this is where we have all the cold blasts coming through. This is just the cold air. When we get that big system from Canada, this is pulling down that Arctic air. This is also what's hiding your severe weather risk. That's why we have any severe weather. But as that pulls through for Sunday, this is where you're going to get a chance for the strong winds, the cold temperatures, and the lake effect snow to really kick in while that pushes out and gets a strong cold blast with very strong wind chills reaching all the way towards southern Florida. So you can see here from your lower level temperatures. So you have this cold blast that's pushing through still all the way until Saturday. But once you go to Saturday, that system in Canada pulling down that Arctic air as you go in for Sunday and Monday, leaving out on Tuesday. So you do have the cold blast, but you got that Arctic blast coming as you go into the weekend. And you can see the latest on the snowfall. So agreeing with the Euro that it's going to be a light snow coming from this first snowstorm. It's going to be a little warm. Some people is going to see 1 and 2 inches. Not going to be a lot. It could wash away as quick as it comes. But you see also as that cold blast comes through for the weekend into Monday and Tuesday, brings that big blast of lake effect snow and potentially a major snowstorm. Showing a lot of it is probably going to be in the lake, but some people could get anywhere from 5 to 9 inches of snowfall. This is going to be a good little snowstorm as it goes out through the interior northeast. And once again, Quebec is getting all of it. Ontario is getting a lot of snow also, but not as much as Quebec. But this cold blast is getting colder. This is the latest update for this morning with the Euro. This is not last night's information. Showing as you go through for Sunday evening, this is going to be your highs. That you're going to still be well below average, anywhere from 10 to 20 degrees in the purple. And as you go overnight for Monday, that's going to be that cold blast going towards the Gulf for Texas, Louisiana. And then as you go for your highs for Monday, still bringing a very cold anomaly through for the southeast. This is going to tie some records all the way back from 1913. And as you go through for Monday, look how it just got really big. This is all going now from 20 to 25 degrees below average. And Florida says he wasn't getting it. This is pivoting right towards Florida. So now look at this. We are tying a temperature for our Tuesday lows over here in Georgia. Look at these low temperatures y'all going to feel as you go overnight Monday into Tuesday. And this is going all the way down Florida. So Florida says he's not getting it. I can't get over saying it so many times. Florida is getting this cold blast. Now real quick, I'm going to show you the temperature update on what happened. Okay, it did shift. I will be fast with it. Then I'm going to show you the latest tropical update. So our latest information on the data, you can see here from our AO, Arctic Oscillation, that is agreeing also that the Euro AI, and agreeing with the GFS, that this cold blast is coming down and it is going to linger all the way until the 18th. Now this isn't all going to be for the south and the southeast. We are going to a different weather pattern where we're going to change. And you can see this from your PNA, your Pacific North American pattern. So we're going to stay in that positive pattern all the way into the 12th. Then it's going to change after that. So there are cold fronts are going to shift. After it goes from the south to the southeast, we're going to get a little bit for the northern half of the U.S. as it's slowly shifting towards the western U.S. And you can see this here from First Warn Weather. When you go to a positive PNA phase, you have that big warm up, that high ridge that we're seeing. Also, you have that cold blast coming towards the eastern U.S. And when you have that negative PNA, it's the exact opposite. You get that ridge and that warmth building through the eastern U.S., and that trough comes through the western U.S. So the West Coast is getting this cold blast after this shift. Now you can see this on your tropopause way up into the atmosphere. You have the cooler air coming through. This is your cold front. This up here is your Arctic air. So the Arctic air is going to come through after this cold blast. And you can see this as you go through Saturday. Then the Arctic air comes in for Sunday into Monday all the way towards the south. And you see it pivots right towards the Appalachians and the Carolinas. You're really going to get some cold temperatures over there. And this is 3 o'clock in the afternoon. This is going to be very cold for y'all when that comes through. Still, you see how it shifts towards the northeast for Tuesday evening. Then you get another low blast that comes through for the Great Lakes through the northeast all the way for the 13th, all the way through the 14th and the 15th. While you still get this system off in the Pacific, showing more likely will not be a cutoff low, but it'll be pulled right in for next Tuesday and Wednesday, bringing those storms still for the West Coast. And you can see that the cold air shifts as you go into that following weekend. So it shifts all the way from the East Coast. Then as it leaves, trying to go to the West Coast, you'll get another blast for the Great Lakes in the Northeast as you go through for Wednesday. And then as you go into next weekend, then that cold blast is going to shift to the West Coast. Now, after that is going to warm up for a few days for the East Coast, so remember that. Now, we still have what's happening in the tropics. I know the tropics probably being said is closed. Just what he said last time they were closed, and we just had Melissa. It's not closed. I'm showing it could possibly go into December as well. Now, it's going to shift further and further east because the more we have these cold fronts, the colder these waters are going to get right here. So that's obviously known, but you can see right here chances for a tropical depression to form is going up all the way towards that 50, even at 60, maybe at 70% now. Our waters still very warm waters, even though we're getting these cold fronts coming through. 80 degrees is right there with that orange. So all you need is 80 degrees to sustain a tropical system. Everything else is still very warm. Our waters are still very warm to handle tropical systems right now. So just like I mentioned in my last tropical update, as we go from the 10th through the middle of the month, this is where we're going to have tropical waves building over here along Central America, Nicaragua, Honduras, the Yucatan, even Belize as it goes through from Mexico. Now the Euro is taking it where it's going further towards the west, showing that we're going to get this ridging building up. We're going to get this high pressure ridging that's going to build up over here, and this is going to bring everything further towards that direction. Now, if the cold blast moves by quickly, this could easily come right back around that ridging, and this is what we need to watch out for. I'm not showing it's a big chance at all, but it is an opportunity. You can see this with one of the runs with the GFS as all this moisture is building up in the Western Caribbean. As we get in that cold blast, the cold blast passes by, and we actually get a low pressure building over here by the Central American Gyre. And as we go 5 days, starts getting potentially a tropical storm, maybe even a strong tropical storm that could build up. This one's showing it could go towards Nicaragua and Honduras and go further towards the west. What we got to watch out for is as this is going towards the west, you can see this right here. You have your high pressure right here, your upper level high, swinging everything to the west. Now, right now we're at 5 days. Usually this don't change that much, but it starts changing after this. And you can see that high pressure is shifting, and maybe it's going to hold long enough to keep pushing that towards the west. That is the trend that more likely will go towards that west. You see that? Now, if you're in Central America, if you're in Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, Belize, going towards Mexico, even the Western Caymans, you need to watch out because this will add up to a lot of heavy rainfall. This is only the next 5 days, and if this group of disorganized thunderstorms don't move into the Pacific and it stays there and builds, it will get heavier for Nicaragua, Honduras, and Belize and Yucatan. Please be aware it could bring a lot of flooding. It could even reach the Caymans, maybe even some more over Jamaica. Showing it's a small chance for this to actually happen, but you can see in the ensembles that it is starting to build into something on the Western Caribbean that we need to watch out for, everybody. Hurricane season isn't over, just like I said before Melissa hit, and everybody's saying hurricane season was over. Obviously, it wasn't. Now, you can see right here, it's only showing one. This one's building up in the western, but you can see it's getting blocked by that high pressure in the Western Caribbean. This one's showing that it could get pulled around. That high pressure could move quickly. See how it could pull it into the Gulf, or it could pull it and swing it around by Florida and the Bahamas and strengthen up. Or it could just sit there and build in the Western Caribbean. So it's not totally done. You can see, obviously, there's a potential in there for something to happen, but you can see how much of a small potential it is, but still, we will watch it. Please don't believe anybody telling you hurricane season is over. If you would have believed them before Melissa, you'd be dealing with a lot of problems right now. But just to keep it honest and fair, because I don't like push fear. We don't root for these storms. You can see with the ensembles right here with the Euro showing more than likely will travel further towards that westward push into the eastern Pacific. So we need to watch out for it. There's a few that show it could pop a little further towards the north. It all depends on that high pressure going over the Gulf. How long is it going to sit there when it shifts from the west? Remember, we're going to shift our weather pattern after this cold blast. You get that high ridging, could be going to that negative PNA. That high pressure that builds that upper level high is what's steering this towards the west. So if that stays longer, this is going to go towards the west. But definitely if you're in Costa Rica, pay attention. If you're in Nicaragua, Honduras, Belize, or the Yucatan, or even southern, southeastern Mexico, pay attention to this group of disorganized thunderstorms. It could bring you way more problems, maybe even some of Jamaica and the Cayman Islands. On a good note, National Hurricane Center don't have anything for the next 7 days. And our latest from Global Tropics confirms that more like it would just be heavier rainfall that builds up over here for Central America. And if something does form, it will be Tropical Storm Nestor. But also look at the latest information, everybody. Just like I told you before, if you look at the potential velocity anomaly, we have something coming through around the 10th. So we need to watch it. More likely going to get balled up into the Central American gyre. But after that, you can see we still have a lot of favorable environment going all the way into the beginning of December. Now, this isn't going far to the west. I wouldn't expect this to be in the Gulf per se, but this could easily be the Eastern Caribbean right here that could go towards the U.S. You can see this shift right here in early December still showing that shift, everybody. That's a little worrisome. We saw this way down here. And showing maybe later on, as we go through the middle of December, we could have another weaker anomaly pushing through. So please, I can't say this enough. People saying many times, hurricane season's over. Then we had Melissa. Hurricane season is not over. Because the one thing that is concerning is when you look at the GFS ensembles, it shows that this builds right here by Central America. And this is your ensemble members. This is in 6 days, showing you could get that system. It is agreeing with its latest deterministic, and it could be for Nicaragua, Honduras. It could sit there and just build and get blocked by this high pressure and just stay there for a number of days. And then when that high pressure moves away, maybe as we go 9 days, going too far, it could pull into that Gulf. Everybody, we do need to watch it. Hurricane season is not over. Don't believe someone that tells you it is. Just like I said before. And that is the latest weather forecast. I hope you have a very blessed weekend, everybody. Have a very great Friday out there. If this information changes by this weekend, I will update you for this afternoon and do an update video for tomorrow. I don't think it will. So I'll see you again on Sunday morning. And once again, do not fret. Do not worry. All these big storms and very dangerous pattern, it's not happening, everybody. It's a lot milder. What you got to watch for is what you always had to watch for is these temperatures. I will keep you updated. Now, before I go, some quick words from our Father. Let's try and leave this on a positive note. 1 Corinthians 15, 50 through 52. Now this I say, brethren, that flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of God, neither doeth corruption inherit incorruption. Behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed. In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump. For the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. Amen. Remember, above all things, all glory does go to God, our Father in heaven, Yahweh. And I always hope he keeps you safe every single day of your life. You and everyone that is around you. And forever. Amen. Hallelujah. Amen. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you for your help all week long.